All right, welcome to our experiment number 6. This is, just as the title on that machine in front of you says, the centrifugal pump. Some people call it centrifugal pump. Either way, it's a typical kind of pump that's used because of its simplicity. Now you see we have a control monitor on the left there that is a kind of computer control, electronic control of the device here that we're going to be using. Just to give us an overview here, we've got the tank of water right here that is going to be our reservoir. There's a pipe leading out of it, goes through a valve, down here, through a bend, and then this is actually the pump. So I'm going to get a little closer there so you can see what we call the pump impeller. That is the part with the vanes on it. And as that turns, it pushes the water away from the center. So you can see the inlet pipe comes into the center of that. And then those vanes push the water to the outside. And then the water has nowhere else to go except out this exit pipe. And it exits the pipe, goes through a flow meter, and then we have another valve that we can adjust. So we have the butterfly valve and then the kind of gate valve there, and then it returns to this reservoir. So we're going to be using this device to study the flow of water, and we have the computer control panel here that gives us a readout of most of the parameters that we need. So you can probably see there we have across the main screen here, we have temperature, flow rate, outlet pressure, inlet pressure. So all of these things are monitored over here on the device, and we record them directly into a data logger on the computer. How do we set up the operation here? There are these icons across the top of the screen, and we use those to show different panels here and to record the data. Also note here on the side, we have some data that is already calculated for us. The torque, the speed, the total head of the pump, so that's how much pressure it's putting or adding to the flow, the efficiency. And then right here are the controls. This is what we're going to be setting. So one is just to turn the pump on or off. That number shows up either as a 1 or a 0. And then the pump speed setting, it's really 0 to 100% of the speed. And then here are a couple other things, the pipe length and the loss coefficient. So I am going to turn this on so that we can see the pump impeller turn, and I'm going to put it on a very low speed at first, and you're going to find that when we start doing the data collection, all we really do is hit the data collection button, and it measures all of the parameters, or really records all of the parameters. So over here on the keyboard, so this is an old computer that still runs the software in an old version of Windows. You will see that I've got the arrow set on the speed. I'm going to increase the speed up just so the impeller starts to turn. So I've got it only on 2. I'm going to come over here just so you can see that that impeller is turning. So looking at it from this side, it's turning counterclockwise. And it actually probably has a little bit of a flow of water. I've got these valves fully open. Let's see what it says here. So if we look at that, the flow rate is 0.04 liters per second. So we have an outlet pressure and an inlet pressure right there. They're almost the same. So at that very low flow, low setting, it's hardly really pumping. I'm going to up this to a little bit higher of a setting. So let's run this at 25. And so now if we come back over, it's much harder to see the impeller spinning. You can tell that it is moving. And if you look closely at the surface of this water, you can see that it must be moving a little bit for that to be moving in the tank. So we have this tank of water. Let's see what the parameters are now. And if we look at this, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Temperature measures flow rate, 0.15 liters per second. Outlet pressure, 5 about, and inlet pressure about 3.5. So we can, in fact, then if we move up here to the go button actually is the button to record data. So I'm just going to show you, we're going to record this data. I hit the go button, and then if we go over here to this other icon that looks like a spreadsheet, says view table, we'll click on that, and this then shows us all of the data that were collected. There's a note placed there and all of these other parameters. So if I go down to the bottom of this sheet, let's see if I can get there, then you will see some of the other parameters that are collected. So there's the flow rate, the torque, the inlet and outlet pressures, all of these things. It'll even tell us, I believe here, the efficiency. There we have the pump efficiency shown, 2.4%. All right, so what we're going to do is go back now to the control panel, and we'll go through the data collection. So it's a little bit hard to tell, but that is the diagram that controls. So we go back to that, and we see that we have the diagram to control the experiment. So I will just go through collecting the set of data that we need to do our experiment, and then we will share that. So it turns out this creates a kind of spreadsheet, as you just saw, and we're able then to download that onto a flash drive, and then I'll share that with you, and then you'll have your data set for this experiment. So we just recorded at this speed. It turns out that we're going to collect some data at a few different speed settings, but we can only get a certain kind of flow rate when we have the speed set very low. So we're going to up the speed to 50% and see what we can get with that. So let me increase our speed. So there we have 50. Now with the valves fully open, this would be kind of the maximum flow rate we can get at the 50% speed setting for this pump. If we look at that, 0.32 liters per second, inlet and outlet pressure as shown there. So I'm going to record this data. There's really not a lot to see on the device itself. If you look at the top of the water, you can tell it is flowing a little bit faster. But everything else over here looks about the same. The impeller is moving faster. So let's just go ahead and record this data. So I'm going to again go up to the go button. The go button is the button that records the data. So then I click that. And just to verify we've got it, I like to check over here in the spreadsheet, make sure that another row of data did get collected. Yes. So let's go back to the control panel for the diagram. And now what I want to do is, where this flow rate is 0.32, I want to get a couple readings at a lower flow rate. So to do that, I am going to adjust this valve, closing it, until I see the flow rate go down to 0.3, and then 0.2, then 0.1. So here we're going to see that drop a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. 0.29, I'm going to take that, collect that data. Now I'm going to close the valve a little bit more, and I'm going to watch the flow rate as I turn this until I get down to 0.2. All right, so I've closed that. You can see it's maybe about 1/8 of a turn, and it's holding steady at 0.2, so I'm going to collect this data. So I've got the arrow already up here. I haven't changed the speed, so I just hit that. Check one more time, make sure we got that recorded, and we do. So now let's just go back again. I'm going to decrease this flow rate a little bit more by, again, this is what you'd be doing, turning the valve. Watch the flow rate reading. I want it to be about 0.1. So that's pretty good. Let's just go with that one. Looks like it's varying a little bit. It doesn't want to sit on 0.1, so that's fine. I'm going to hit the go button. Going to verify the data. And it looks like we've got that. I'm going to move over to the other reading so that I can see what the speed is that we've got. There we go. Pump setting. So what I wanted to do was at the pump setting speed, I wanted to make sure that I recorded at the different flow rates. So what I'm seeing here is the pump speed. I've got it set on 50, and then what I wanted to also look at was the flow rate. So the maximum one, and then put it on 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. What this is going to let us do is be able to do our efficiency plot. So let's go back. The lowest flow rate we'll do is that 0.1. Go back to our diagram here. Now we'll up the speed to 75. And we'll basically collect the same data values again. All right, so everything is the same. I've left that valve partially closed. And now you can see the pump. You can start to see that it looks like a little air is getting entrained. I'm not sure if that's cavitation due to the low pressure. So we see here that it does say the outlet pressure is 5.2 or around 5 kilopascals. The inlet is negative, so we've got an inflow. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that flow rate even farther down to 0.1, and then I'm going to record that. So go back up here to the go button, collect the data. Make sure that it got collected by going over here to the spreadsheet. And I have the 75. There we go. So let's now increase the flow rate. So we're going to open this valve. Want to open it so that we get up to 0.2. There we go, 0.2. Now I'm going to collect the data. Going to verify that we've got it, and then I'm just going to go on through. Yep, 0.75. Inlet pressure did change, outlet pressure, torque, all of these things. There's the flow rate, 0.2. All right, so now go back to the diagram. See if we can get 0.3 from this. Open this a little bit more. All right, there we go. 0.32, 0.3. All right, that's close enough. Let's collect our data. Go to the go button. Click that. We should have that data. Let's check. Flow rate, yes, 0.3. All right, that's done. Let's go to the control diagram again. Now I'm going to open this a little bit more. We're almost fully open, so we may not get up to the next 0.1 liter. Let's see if I open this, how far up we can go. 0.38, 0.4, all right. Yep, that looks like it's pretty stable. Let's just go ahead and collect that data. Got it. Verify that we have it. Again, look at the Q, 0.4. Go to the control diagram. And let's open the valve a little bit further then. All right, that's fully open. So, looks like we're just about reaching 0.5, which is perfect. So I'm going to go up here, hit the collect data, verify it, Q, 0.49, have that, pump speed 75. Okay, we're done with that one. So we have it from 50% rating, speed, we have the 75, now we're going to go up to the 95. So we're going to have 3 pump speeds. I've decided to go a little bit different than what were in the instructions, but this will work for us. All right, so now we have 95% speed. And if you look at these things here, you can see the motor torque, that is how much torque is exerted onto the water, and then the speed of the impeller in RPMs, the total head 3.67 meters, and efficiency 20%. All right, so now if we look at this flow rate, it is at 0.6 liters per second. So let's go ahead and collect that data for this pump speed. Go to the go button and click one time. Check your spreadsheet. 95%. 0.64 liters per second. Okay. Go to your control panel again. And now watch your speed, your flow rate, and close the blue valve. So I want you to take it down to 0.6 liters per second. So let's see what we can do here. All right, that's close enough, 0.58. Have it just partly closed. Back over here, collect the data. Hit the go button. Got it. Check your spreadsheet. 95.6. All right, got it. Go to the control panel. Close the valve a bit more to bring that flow rate down to 0.5. Lucky, got it. All right, collect the data. Verify. 95.52 for Q, that's fine. Next setting. Control panel. Watch the flow rate. Close your valve just a little bit more to bring that flow rate down to 0.4. All right, that's close enough. Collect data. Verify. Control panel. Flow rate. 0.3. A little bit further. All right, We'll go with that. 0.29 looks good. 0.3 right in there. Collect the data, verify. 0.95, 0.3. About finished here. Go to the control diagram. Flow rate back down to 0.2. All right, there we have 0.19, just so you can see what it looks like over here. Got that closed. You can see the impeller running. You can see just a little bit of mixing in that reservoir tank. All right, let's collect the data. We're going to do 0.1 and then we're going to be done. 0.2, 95. Go to the control diagram. One more setting here. Close this valve a bit more. Looks like it settled at 0.11. That's pretty good. You can see those pressures. That's quite a change in pressure. We got a real low pressure on the inlet. Let's collect this data. Hit the go. Verify. $95.11 looks good. Go back here. Going to open this all the way. You can really see then how the water is churning in that reservoir. See what kind of flow rate. Should be back up there to 0.64. And that really is a wrap on this experiment. Now you can see what the inlet and outlet pressures are. Not as low of inlet, but a lot higher on the outlet pressure. All right, that really concludes our experiment. You have the document posted, so I encourage you to take a look through that. We will go through this together in the lab class meeting. This is the part we did, the procedure. The thing that I did change was right up here. So we did 50, 75, and 95. And we did collect at all of the flow rates that we could on 0.1 increments. We're going to save it to the flash drive that I have right here. And then we will fill out our data collection sheet. All right, I'm going to stop our video here. And that concludes our last lab experiment for this class.